truly spoken words. I am not sure if I deserve all those accolades, but thank you nonetheless. You are yourself such an accomplished woman, and you have really done the community proud with your achievements. So it was a privilege to be introduced by you. And I've listened with great interest to the words of Mr. Ram Babu, Dr. Sidhu, Mr. Ram Pai, Dr. Surya Dakar, and the wonderful music by Pramod Chiblankar. It was so beautifully sung. Thank you so much. And of course then the introduction by Manju. It's really wonderful to be here in Richmond. It's my first visit to this fair city after I became ambassador. So about 6 months since I came to this country, I returned to this country, really speaking. And in those 6 months I've had the opportunity to travel to many cities all across this country. And I've been privileged to meet with representatives of our community, the community of Indian Americans, 3 million of them, I believe at last count, in this country. And they have done, as I said yesterday, our country, Mother India, really proud with their achievements, with the manner in which they have been able to impact life in America, to contribute to the progress and prosperity of this country. And through that, they have brought pride to India. And many, many of them are now able also and interested in and dedicated to contributing to India's development. I get so many queries from representatives of the community asking me what they can do for India's progress, what they can do for the mother country, which is really something so special and which we in India, we who live in India, really value and treasure. So your contributions are very, very prized by all of us. And earlier speakers spoke about the contributions being made by our community to the cause of the partnership, the strategic partnership between India and the United States. And you have done a great deal. You mentioned the India-US Civil Nuclear Deal. And there is also a great degree of contributions that you are making to strengthening our partnership in so many areas. This is a partnership that extends into so many fields of human endeavor today. We have about 25 dialogue mechanisms between India and the United States. And these dialogue mechanisms, these areas of cooperation, touch human lives. They actually impact the lives of common men and women in India. And they build bridges of friendship between Americans and Indians. You know, it's 50 years since the Peace Corps was set up. You know, a lot of young Americans went to India to work at grassroots level, many of them, and they built lifelong friendships. Today, I think the traffic is so much more. And it is led by people like you, who know India very well, who feel the pulse of the country, and are able to interpret India to your American brethren here in this country. I think that's what makes it so special. You become that bridge between India and America. And you know, that is a very, very important role, a very significant role that you are playing, especially now that India is progressing. Our growth, our economic growth is accelerating. India is poised to become the third largest economy in the world. And through this progress, through this accelerated economic development, the lives of 1.2 billion people are being transformed. There's no doubt that there are a number of challenges that we face in India. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done to lift millions of people out of poverty. But you know, the story is so inspiring today when you look at the millions of people who are being lifted out of poverty. Just in the last 5 years, according to a calculation that was brought to my notice just yesterday, about 57.5 million people have been lifted out of poverty just in 5 years. So if you extrapolate that to, let's say, 30 years from now, you can imagine, and if we, and I'm sure we will, grow at this accelerated rate, how many millions of people are going to be lifted out of poverty. And we will be able, through that dedication and through that hard work and through the entrepreneurship, through the spirit of innovation, the diligence and hard work and dedication of our people, be able to eliminate the scourge of poverty from our country. And what do we need to do that, to do all that, to achieve that? We have to work to improve health standards, we have to improve education standards, we have to raise agricultural productivity, we have to build better infrastructure for the country, we have to promote the inflow of capital, of technology, of ideas from the outside world. So India is in many ways an open society, an open country. We will push the process of economic reform and liberalization. We understand that our growth is contingent upon so many factors, not only the work that we do within the country. It's true, we have a huge domestic market, we have a lot of talent within the country, we have resources, but we cannot be isolated from the rest of the world. We have to work with our international partners in order to achieve many of the goals that we have set for ourselves. And India's position on the world stage is enhanced through that interaction, through that partnership that we have with our major friends, the friends like America all across the world. That is why our foreign policy, India's foreign policy, is so intertwined with the national interest. Because what is foreign policy? Foreign policy basically exists to promote a country's interest on the global stage. In order to protect that interest, in order to interpret to the rest of the world what we stand for, what our government's policies are, and in order to preserve our interests, in order to protect our strategic, our security, our development interests. And in the working of that foreign policy, and the embassy is here basically to carry out, literally, in the field, if one may put it that way, the policy that is made in terms of what India's relations should be with the rest of the world. So foreign policy and domestic policy, or the country's internal, priorities, are very, very closely integrated. Foreign policy doesn't exist in isolation. It is in many ways a reflection of what a country's basic national interest is. And what is our national interest? Our national interest is to promote our development, to eliminate poverty, to accelerate our rate of growth, to build better trade and investment ties with the rest of the world, to improve our infrastructure, to raise our agricultural productivity. And to do all this, we need a climate of peace and stability, particularly in our neighborhood. And that is why we have consciously embarked on a policy of good neighborly relations with all the countries in our neighborhood. We live in a difficult neighborhood, and terrorism continues to be a big threat to our progress and development, to our cities, to our citizens. But we cannot wish away our neighborhood. We have to think of how, practically speaking, we can build good relations, normal relations, how we can promote closer integration, how we can promote closer connectivity with the countries in our region. It's only through that we can prosper, because India is in many ways, we call it the subcontinent. I would say it is a country of continental proportions, and in order for us to grow and to prosper, we have also to think of our neighborhood, because if our neighborhood is estranged or